is the single most important breakthrough any of us are going to have in our lives. When it's late at night and you're a little bit tired and you're open to something that you wouldn't necessarily be open to at any other point in your life. Where you are today and where you want to go. And I'm here to tell you, it just comes down to price.
The material world will detach you from the spiritual. I spent a lot of time with no material gain. Zero. There was no way to gain in any material form. So the only thing I could do was seek within and build myself internally to create my worth. So my worth came from my conduct, my character, what I thought, how I practiced, who I pushed growth upon, who I transformed.
These things happen, everybody crashes, and then you're faced with that crash. And you either have an epiphany or you don't. You either walk off the field and say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, and you give up on that, going after your audacious goals, or you gain really humility. How do you feel that you're going to be wrong? I had to bet against the consensus and be right. And so to gain that humility was the thing. So you either get off the field or you learn.
I think when somebody has a setback, that number one, you have to become awake again, because a setback can just really put you in a daze. But what takes place so many times is that people they stay in that daze and they're not awake. So you have to become awake, and number two, you have to become aware. So you're awake, but now be aware, like, what's going on around me?
I think that the moment we switch on that system for alert or for emergency, we alter ourselves in some way. All of that response that we have to an environment that we perceive as threatening or dangerous pretty much causes us to move out of balance. And when you're out of balance, you're in survival. And when you're in survival, you want to rush to get things done. You can't be present.
Adversity is going to reveal a man to himself, and it's going to teach him everything. And life is happening for you, good or bad. How could you denounce that from what I just went through? I just went through 10 years. It happened for me. I killed it now. Now I've shaped myself into the person I am today, and the person who I aspire to be. As long as we know we have to work on straightening ourselves daily through our process, our reflection, our ability to introspect. The second we point the finger somewhere else, it just causes problems. We should all be pointing it at ourselves.
There's a price to pay to become somebody new. There's a price to pay for change. And there's a look in people's eye. And I will tell you, one of the questions that hides behind what people are actually saying is, Tom, am I going to make it? Do I have what it takes? When you look into my future, can you see me making it?
I think that what's important is for people to understand that setback is only temporary. And sometimes you have to go left before you get right.
So when people start to feel gratitude, their body is believing that something favorable is going to happen to them. The emotional signature of gratitude is the perfect signature or the state of energy to receive. So when we begin to embrace our future and we feel gratitude for it, we will believe that future is more of a reality because it's equal to the emotion that we're experiencing. But we're feeling the emotion before the actual event occurs.
You all meet minimum requirements. You all meet minimum requirements. So whatever it is you want to do, I'm not going to say that it's going to be easy for you because you're ultra smart or something. You probably aren't. Now, minimum requirements for what? For whatever you want. Now, that sounds great, right? Tom said I can make it. This is amazing. But all I've actually said is now, if you don't make it, it's on you.
How do you get past your ego and your blind spot? We know what the ego barrier is. Like, I got to be right, or whatever it is, or I'm not good at this. The blind spot barrier is the realization that people actually see things different. They see different things. Like, somebody will see the big picture, somebody will see the detail. They'll focus on different things, almost like a color spectrum type of thing. And if you realize that you will see a part of that spectrum and other people will see the other part of the spectrum, and so that you really need to, when you go above yourself, you really need to orchestrate all those ways of seeing. Because you are not just one of those people that's got to do it yourself. Your way of being the success is to go above it and be the orchestrator and know what you're good at and what you're not good at. So it's almost like if you want your life to be successful, you will not let yourself do certain things because you're just no good at them.
And that's the thing, is nobody wants to be hurt, but we only grow through pain. Adversity will reveal who you are. When you're deep within your workout or whatever, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to do this is hard, this is that. Like, you get to know who you are right at that breaking point. Vices are simply trading tomorrow's happiness for today's. So we're trading the future. We're living in debt. People don't understand that with vices and trading tomorrow's happiness for today's, they live a life of debt. When you live a life based on debt, it creates hopelessness.
And a lot of what we all have had to do that have had setbacks, and that is to reprogram ourselves. Because what happens is that when you have that kind of setback, what most people think is that they have to become a discount version of themselves. Again, think to yourself, okay, I am left, but I can now turn this left into something positive. So what I teach is you could turn your left into a library of learning and a sanctuary of going deeper.
There's nobody else to blame. Everything is your fault. Everything. The good stuff in your life, that's on you. You did that. You either put yourself in a position to deserve it, to be around people that want to help, to take care of you. Luck came by, you were able to capitalize on it. Because like we talked about earlier, luck's like a bus, another one's coming. But will you have the fare to get on? And maybe that's it. Maybe you just got really lucky. And that's on you. So you should be very proud of the things that you have in your life. But all the things in your life that aren't to your satisfaction, those are all your fault.
Life works almost the opposite than the way you believe it works. That the things that you think are good are often bad for you. Like, it feels good. Almost always, or quite often, the first order consequences of things like, I feels good, it makes me happy, I don't want to argue, I don't want to deal with the challenges, I want to avoid the pain. That whole litany of things that you would say, that's going to bring you a happy life kind of thing.
The biggest problem humans have, all of us, there's so many distractions, so many events taking place, that the biggest problem we all have is when we try to convince our mind of something our heart knows is a lie. But I want to tell people, just go right into your heart in those situations and say, man, what do I want from this? Like, go to the end result. Like, you know your true answer. It only lies in your heart. Anytime you're trying to justify with events in your head, that's not your answer.
Working your land will change anybody's life. There's a proverb that says, he who works his land will have abundance. But if you chase fantasies, you lack wisdom.
If no matter what's going on, you can choose to think differently, believe differently, see differently. All All of those things are a choice. Viktor Frankl lost his whole family to the Holocaust. And he said the thing that people die of in a concentration camp is the loss of a why. And Nietzsche said if you have a why, you can survive almost any how.